Um, no great news to report, but still have ambitions to get a co-working space off the ground here in England. Um, yeah, no great progress to report on that. Other things in life have been getting in the way, but still here to listen and learn from other people.
Fair enough. Such is the nature of the season. Cool. All right. And John, what's going on in your world?
Oh, Wayne's World, huh? I can't remember what I reported last week other than we did start construction or demolition in our space. It's a 13,000 square foot space being built out in a older 70s building that's under total renovation, 10 floors. So it was good to finally get that on its way, and still anticipating a May opening if everything goes as planned.
Excellent. Excellent. And how are the community building efforts going in the meantime?
Good. I actually interviewed a potential community manager, which would be a great find. She actually came to me. She oversaw the Level office here in Charlotte. Level, I think, has 17 offices nationwide, and she got a promotion where she's going around the country opening all their new offices, and she's tired of traveling, so she wants to just stay here. So that would be a great addition, and we're continuing negotiations this week.
Wow, awesome. All right, very cool. All right, and Herman, can we hear you? Nope. Damn. Do you see maybe on the Zoom thing, there should be in the lower left corner a little up arrow to the right of the microphone, and maybe you can fiddle with that, see if that lets you change the source. Whilst you do that, let's check in with Nana. Nana, how are things going in your world?
Yeah, hi, I'm Nana. I'm based in the Bay Area. Nice to meet everyone. Yeah, well, we just signed our lease, so pretty excited about that. It's still needs a little work. They're going to be putting in the carpeting, and then we have to do a little work. So we'll be moving in mid-December, and then hopefully be ready by Jan 1 to kind of start pushing for membership. We have a lot of verbal commitments, but well, I don't know what a lot would mean in this case, but we do have some verbal commitments, and then we have some options for renting out some private offices. So we're hoping that that'll at least get us started. And yeah, we have some corporate events also that may potentially happen in January. So fingers crossed. I guess that's where we're at. I hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving.
Awesome. All right. Well, congratulations on the lease.
Thank you.
Woohoo! Very good.
Exciting and scary.
Yep, that's how it goes.
Sounds about right, huh?
Yes, indeed, they go hand in hand. And Elena, I see we've got you on the call as well. Are you able to tune in? Give us a quick update.
Hi, can you hear me? I just realized I thought I had it on mute and didn't, so sorry if you were
No, we didn't hear you until just now, so everything's perfect.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I'm just walking into the office after holiday weekend, so I'm only have half a brain. I am with Vibe Coworks outside of Seattle, and I guess our exciting happening of last week was that we signed on one of the local universities as a founding partner for us, which is a huge thing, and we're really excited about some of the stuff that they're already kind of stepping up to do in terms of research and possibly housing SBDC, or the small business development offices within our co-working space. So I have meetings with them today that I'm looking forward to.
Wow. Okay, great. Well, first of all, congrats on the university partnership. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? How that came about, what the nature of the relationship is?
So some of you know, we've opened a temporary space. So we've got the Vibe Lab open right now, and we're moving into a brand new building early next year. And one of the things that we did leading up to our opening was to establish what we've called the Founding 40. So they're kind of founding members that share our vision and put some money down to help us kind of, it's not really enough money to help us move mountains, but it's enough that it makes it a bit of a commitment for them and gives us a little bit of money to work with. So I had spoken at a conference recently talking about technology, and it was like kind of an Economic Development Alliance type conference. And one of the universities stood up after I spoke and said, "Hey, have you spoken with the universities?" And I said, "Yeah, but I'd love to talk to you because as of yet, I just keep hitting a wall with the contacts that I have." And they called me up, came into the office the next day and said, "We want to be a Founding 40 member." And I said, "Well, that's great, but that's for individuals. Why don't you come on board at a much higher level as a corporate catalyst?" And they said, "We love it." And so they signed like right then and there. This is kind of an extension office. Like they've opened, it's a full-fledged university, but it's not the full lineup of programs in this area. So they're looking to better kind of integrate and get their brand name out within the community and show that they're true partners here in the area. And I think that's kind of the added value for them. And they're really interested. They've got a cybersecurity program that is one of very few in the country like it. Which is kind of a good match for where we're interested in going with some of our tech programming. So TBD, well, I'll let you know after this afternoon when we talk some more. One of the things that they've agreed to pick up, I was not complaining. I told them on my wish list was to have some piece of research done right now before we open as kind of a benchmark of where economic development is at, so that in 5 years' time, we can come back and say, hey, there's 5 new co-working spaces open. This is the impact that co-working has had on kind of the world of entrepreneurship here locally. And they said, oh, sure, we've got researchers across the board. We'd love to do that for you. So that's my one exciting victory already.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, no, it's so helpful because who does that research before you open? I mean, it's so rare, but would be so valuable to have if you can do it. So that's great. Awesome. Well, congrats and thanks for sharing that. So I see we've got Lada and we've got Rosalie here as well. So Lada, why don't you check in and Herman, while we're doing this, if you could just chat us a little introduction so we can all see it, that'll give us a nice way to at least get acquainted with you. But Lada, go ahead and take it away.
Hey everybody, I'm Lada down in Miami. Tony, I really have nothing this week. Of course, Thanksgiving was last week, and so I've sort of, after the call last week, I have been really busy with that.
Did you have a good Thanksgiving, Lada?
You know, I did. A lot of family, a lot of food. Now it's time to get back to work before the year end closes.
That's right. This is the final sprint here.
Yes.
All right, cool. Rosalie, how's things on your end?
Hey, everyone.
Hey, Rosalie.
I'm supposed to update you guys?
Yeah, just a quick, a little quick.
Sorry, that I came in a little late.
And then
everything's good right now. I'm repairing one of the offices that got affected because of the hurricane. So right now we're doing the walls and the electrical work, and then I have to start painting again.
Cool. All right. How are things going in terms of member recruitment? Are you doing any more programs or anything to attract some of the former members who are part of your space?
Right now I'm working on the website. So I had to deconstruct it and make it all over again. And we had to do the change of management like a month ago. So I'm doing that, and then I'm going to start pushing because I've been fixing up the offices so it can attract people.
Yep. So for everybody's kind of refreshment, so Rosalie actually is in a crazy situation. She took over a space in Miami, took over management of a space that had been previously thriving and then mismanaged and sold and kind of cut up and reduced to levels below where it used to be. So she's kind of building it back up by hand. And Rosalie, it sounds like the website is taking up a lot of your time?
No, not really. I started that maybe like last night because I had done it, but then since they did the transfers, they basically wiped off the website, and then I had to do it over again. But it's no problem. It's WordPress, so that's quick.
It helps that you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, let's keep that conversation rolling in just a second. We're going to kind of roll all this into one conversation, I think. And I'll just read out for the folks phoning in Herman's introduction. Hi, everyone. This is Herman talking now. Sorry about the audio. I'm trying to get this worked out. I'm just opening a new co-working space here in Houston. I have a small building, just finished construction, 7 offices, 12 desks, lobby conference room for 10, and a break room. I hope to get some great ideas here. So far, no members signed up yet, but we are really just getting started here. And Herman, is that your space where you are right now? Awesome. That's a nice logo. It's a nice design. It looks like a nice build out there. So that's cool. So if you have any questions, I'll be looking for the chat. So if you want to drop in any comments or any questions as you go, feel free to just pop in there. But what I'm really interested in is this end of year and really getting ourselves ready for next year. So one of the things that came up for me in the Co-working Europe conference was the need for more of a specific way to distinguish our spaces from the traditional workspaces. And what I think we can do is coordinate some of our efforts more. So the big thing that I'm really pushing for really hard is sell a program, not a space. The program gives people access to the space, but it gives people a reason to come to your space and not to someone else's space. Just renting space isn't particularly exciting compared to all the other spaces that people can rent. So what you can do is do something relatively simple and use that as a way of attracting people who really want to participate in something that you're leading. So when I say something, what is the something? You can make the something whatever you want, but I do have some established programs that work for this. We've talked in the past, for those of us who've been here for the calls, we've talked in the past about Codivation, which is in the toolkit, which is shared with you all the materials you need to start one. And the original Codivation group that I ran was a New Year's event, and it was super successful. Now, a lot of you guys are pre-launch, so we want to think about how can you be doing community organizing before you even have a space, and the basic same rules apply. What you want to do is give people a reason to come and join on a certain day to get together and set goals. And so if you were to do a Codivation group, you could do it in your space if you have one. If you don't have a space, you can do it in a cafe, or you can do it in whatever you want to establish as your temporary home base. And you can, of course, make your own version. You do whatever you want, but I have a program, so you can just take it and use it if you want. And so you set a date and you invite people to come check it out. The first meeting is free. If you don't have a space yet, then every meeting is free or cheap. It depends on how you want to do it. But this is your way of building momentum. So, John, in your case, you said you're going to open in May, right? So about 6 months from now. So great. That gives you enough time to do a couple of rounds of this program. And by then you should have a really robust following of people who are super grateful and excited to have been a part of what you did. So what I want is for everybody in this group to commit to doing something for January, to do some kind of program. It could be one of the ones I give you. It could be one of the ones that you come up with on your own, something else entirely, because we're actually going to be doing a promotion through coworking.org of every co-working space that is offering up some kind of a program as a way to attract members. So we're going to be shifting the perception of what co-working is away from simply being renting space and more towards being the active gathering and the activities that are happening in the spaces. So I'd love for everybody in this group to have something to add to that list. And that's something that we'll be kicking off hopefully in the next week or two. And then I'll just add that I'm also working on a more ambitious program based on Codivation that will potentially be something you guys could just take and run with. So kind of keep you guys posted on how that goes as I develop it some more. But it basically takes the same idea of join the co-working space, but as a program, and that you're participating in something that's helping you develop professionally. So that's my little rant to start off our conversation. What have I stirred up for you so far?
Tony, I've got a question for you. How did you attract participants to your community events?
Yeah, it was really a matter of taking what I already was doing and just giving it a different message. So you picture the website for a typical co-working space right now, and it basically says, you know, hey, we're more than a workspace. We're this amazing environment. But then, you know, basically the call to action is come have a tour of our workspace. And you go to a tour, and the tour is like, hey, check out my workspace. And, you know, that's like somebody who's touring workspaces is basically going to have the same experience over and over again. And so there's really not, it's not super compelling, and it's not giving me a reason to do this right now. If I'm working from home, I don't really need to go and tour your space tomorrow, because it's going to be the same space that it's going to be next year, you know, so I don't have any urgency. Like, I don't need to tour tomorrow. If instead the first thing I see when I go to your website is join this program we have that's going to help you make more money and be more successful with your business, and the next program starts January 15th, register by January 8th in order to join, and come in for a free consultation to learn more about whether this could be right for you. Like, now I've got a little bit of urgency, and now you've got kind of my attention. I'm like, what is this thing? And so it's more about giving, like, what I did was I just changed the message on the website for one, and then I oriented my promotions around that. So instead of saying, you know, hey, everyone, come join my co-working space next year because it's awesome, I would say, hey, we're launching a new program. I think it's going to be really valuable to you. You should come check it out. There's a date to register by, and you can come join for our interest meeting. So like the promotions were oriented around getting people to show up for a thing. And so that was just what it was. I mean, you know, the same promotion channels are what they are. You got your website. If you do, you've got, you know, mailing list. If you don't have those things yet, you at least have personal contacts. So if you're, you know, as we've talked about, you know, it's not just you. So now you've got personal contacts you've been meeting when you've been going to meetups and you've been going to events around town. So if you've got those 5 to 10 to 20 to 25 people and you're just in personal contact with them, now you're contacting them and say, hey, I'm working on developing this new thing. Would you be interested in being a part of it? You know, and by the way, do you know anyone else who would be interested? And so, you know, you're using the same principles. You know, if you go to the solopreneur meetup that's happening in your city, and they give you a chance to do a shout out, or if the host, you know, shouts you out, say, hey, plug this program that we're going to be doing, and you know, find that beachhead space in your town where you can start organizing stuff. You know, the cafe, the big, spacious, funky, artsy cafe that has a bunch of tables in the back, and you can, you know, probably clear space for 10 people to get together once a week, and make that, you know, start to make that your home base in this pre-launch period. Or if it's not a cafe, it's a friend's office. It's, you know, that kind of thing. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Awesome. I'm in a rant and ramble mode today, apparently. Cool. So what do you guys think? Like, what's your approach to this? How much of what I'm saying are you agreeing with, and you're going to go along with it, or are you going to go with something different when it comes to how you're going to do things come January?
I am agreeing with it, but I'm wondering how to differentiate it from other things that are already running. Yeah, there's this question that I'm pondering. I mean, I think there is an answer, but I'm still pondering, because we have like we have what we call an enterprise agency. I don't know if you have them in the States, which is sort of government funded organisation that helps small businesses, and they run various workshops and things. We also have one of our business networking groups, as well as doing their ordinary networking. They do a monthly thing that is kind of similar to what you're talking about. So yeah, but so there are these things which are kind of similar to what you're talking about, but not quite the same. But it's a matter of developing something that's differentiated and it has that element of we're working together, and it is something to do with co-working as well as just a program.
Yeah, I think that's the big distinction. You know, when you're getting started, you want to find people that you meet face-to-face, one-on-one, and form a relationship with. So immediately you have a bit of a differentiation there because you now have a personal relationship with the people that you've been talking to, and presumably you've gotten to know a little bit about their business and their interests. And then you can say, you know, hey, I'm meeting other awesome people, and we're all going to, you know, I'm going to gather some of these people together to get them to know each other a little bit. And that's going to, you know, that's going to lead to something that's very unique and very special, because then there's a little bit of culture that's being formed amongst that group. And so, you know, if you haven't done that yet, you know, basically the process that we go through with this group is that it's you, and then you go out and you find some people, you go to events, things that are happening, you find 5 or 10 or 20 people that you've just met individually, maybe you get coffee with them, whatever. And then the next step is do a little informal gathering. Get those folks together for lunch. So right now, Martin, maybe what you need to not do is try to overdo it in terms of a program. Maybe it's just a matter of, you know, maybe your next step is just get 5 or 10 people together for lunch and have a nice conversation. And then that can lead to, hey, maybe let's do a regular co-working thing or a regular program. And then that leads to, you know, something that really can build some momentum from there and be a little bit more public. Does that make sense?
I don't know. It doesn't capture it doesn't seem to be on quite in line with my wavelength. I kind of want to start not that small. It doesn't. It seems to me it needs a little bit more to it than that to get started. Otherwise, you're just having a chat with a friend over a cup of coffee. It needs to be more than that.
All right. Well, maybe what you can do is put together the plan for what the more is. You know, share that with us. Come back to us next week with an outline for what that more substantial thing is, and then, you know, that gives you some accountability to have something to go for. Would that be helpful?
Well, I'm still pondering. Yes, I'm not committing to next week, but I'm still toying with the ideas.
Fair enough. All right. Well, I'm gonna keep it in mind when we check in again. So we'll see how it goes. How about everybody else in terms of where you're going for January? What's your inclination? Do you want to do a program? Do you want to do something more like what Martin's describing? I think is a valuable question. Is, you know, I have a way of doing it that's very start with just person-to-person relationships and then build some momentum from there. But there are other ways to approach it where maybe you try to pitch something and see who responds to the pitch. The concern that I have is that what I don't want to see is that it turns out that everybody here, not everybody, but that a lot of us here are just going to try to kind of do their thing and not try to recruit people to be a part of what you're doing. Because ultimately, you can't do it alone, and you need to be able to build momentum. So for those of you who haven't opened your spaces yet, you know, you don't want to open on the first day and only have a few people even know what you were working on. So we need to make sure that we've got a bit of a campaign design between the present day and the day that you open your doors. And so what's that look like for you? Like what's your current plan, and how does this kind of all juxtapose for you? A lot of probably because you're on the screen, I can't help but ask you what you think of this situation.
That's fine. Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay. I think for me, January is a good target, maybe a little easier because I can actually target a specific group. My goal is to find that platform to do it, whether I'm partnering with Rosalind and nonprofit at the VA. And I think that's where my thinking is right now, that because she has a space already, we have a place to meet. And it's just a matter of me actually connecting up with one or two of the veteran groups locally, and just go from there. So that's the start. Now my universe is much bigger than that, but my target group, I think I can really push forward and target the specific group because, as you know, veterans trust veterans, and veterans listen to other veterans. So I think it would be easy for me. And Rosalind will make it easy because she already has a space. So I just want to partner with her and see what we can do to bring that group in. Great. Okay, awesome. Yeah, so you got a pretty good sense of, so just to update everybody, so we had Rosalie join, who has a space, and we had Lotta also join a few months before, who doesn't have a space but is building a program and aspires to have a space specifically for veterans. So I connected the two of them, and now what we're talking about is maybe Lotta can incubate his idea in Rosalie's space, and then to the benefit of both of them. So that sounds like a great plan, Lotta, to get your promotion channels kind of started, just to start kind of testing something out for January. Right. By the way, I sent to the group through your email a study that I picked up at the GWA conference. It's the state of co-working, came out of the UK, but it's one of the recent studies that were peddling that everyone needs to read. So I pushed that to you, Tony, so that everyone can get it. Awesome. All right, cool. Thanks, Lotta. And I see we actually have a new entrant to the arena. Justin, how's it going, man? Welcome. Oh, can't hear you. Sorry. I'm unmuting you. I'm trying to unmute you. There you go. Nope. Oh, man, the newbies today. We're 0 for 2 on new participants and the microphone effectiveness. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. Justin, we did this with Herman. Why don't you just go ahead and type in an introduction in the chat? Okay, you'll be right back. And we're going to continue the conversation, then we'll see where it goes from there. Cool. So let's see. What else? Nana, I'm curious with you, since you have some urgency with the timing for January. What's your scheme for how you're going to recruit members and kind of get people involved during this kind of marathon time? I guess I would call it.
Sure. So we started as a meetup in 2013. So and most of our members for the meetup group are local to the area. That said, I don't know how many of them we can convert, but in terms of a community, that's something that we have been working on for the last couple of years. And also we're a domain specific co-working space. We're around virtual reality technology. So I think some of the things that that we're working on is building partnerships with hardware companies, because one of the obstacles right now for people is that the equipment is expensive and there's a lot of them, and developers can't buy all of them. So so that's one of the things that we're definitely focusing on, is working with partners like companies, so we can have an extensive library, and then and certainly we want to figure out how we can convert some of those people who are already part of our meetup group and who come regularly to our meetups into actual people who join as paying members. Yeah, well, we have some people committed, and we'll see how that if they actually follow through. I think one of the things that we're trying to figure out is, it seems like there's like co-working spaces that aren't domain specific that have a pricing structure and then there's like co-working spaces that are a little bit lower priced and maybe don't have quite the same amenities but have other things. So I'm not really sure how to balance that out. Because we will have a lot of expensive equipment, but I also want to make it affordable because no one's making money in the virtual reality space right now.
It seems like a ripe opportunity to find some partners who'd be able to subsidize membership. I know there's a lot of companies that are hungry for content in VR right now.
Right. That's great.
Yeah, I mean, if the people themselves aren't making money, then somebody's got to be paying for it.
Yeah, exactly. That's a great point. Maybe we'll talk to some of them to see if they'd be willing to like sponsor a scholarship or something. Scholarships.
Yeah, and the way you can do scholarships, you can have people apply and get a discounted rate, or even have it be free if it's underwritten by a sponsor.
Right.
But make it an application process, make it a finite period of time. You want it, 3 months or 6 months, whatever it is, so that people have a bit of a limitation to how much they get for free. Make that really clear.
Right.
But yeah, I think I think it makes so much sense as a pitch if you've got contacts in that industry. And now's a great time to say, hey, we want to get this going for January. Who can we talk to who'd be interested in helping make this happen? And then you can say, hey, every whatever it is, every $1,500 buys 3 months of membership for one potential new creator on your platform. And if it's a specific platform partner, then you can even have scholarships specific to that platform. So people who apply who have an interest in a particular platform, then they get kind of matched up. So yeah, that sounds like a great chance to kind of do some work in the contacts.
Yeah, no, that's a great idea. We'll reach out to them because we're actually talking to them about other stuff anyway. So that's a great. I hadn't thought about asking them to sponsor people, but I think that would definitely be something that, especially the larger companies, would be interested in.
Yeah, and I'm sure you'll find people who have some kind of funding or financing who just want to be able to access the equipment as well. So
right.
At this point, it sounds like you're in a position where you're going to have a space. So that's super powerful. Where it is, you can really use that to pitch people. And so now you have the ability to go out and say, hey, we're going to recruit our inaugural class. And and really try to make it a big deal that the people who are going to be a part of it in the beginning are getting a special experience out of it.
Right.
Elena actually has had a really great example of this that I can share with you. They call it the Founding 40, and so it was specific to people who kind of joined before it opened, and they got a special rate, things like that. And Elena's on the call, so she can jump in and provide a little backstory on it if she's game. But I'm going to paste the link to their post about it in the chat.
Yeah, that would be great. We'd love to get some founding, especially some of the people who've been coming to our meetups since the beginning. We certainly would love to get their support.
And I realized you're calling in so that you won't see the chat, so I'm just going to send you the link.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Elena, do you want to just give us a quick update on how that Founding 40 has gone for you?
Yeah, so it's been really good. And I think the most valuable thing for us has been to kind of back to your point where it's not just about the office, for us to be able to say like, hey, this is a community of people. And for us to kind of try to a little bit cherry pick the types of people. We wanted it to be open to everyone. We wanted it to be very diverse in who people are kind of representative of. But we wanted it to be kind of the forward-looking thinkers of our community. We're in a small kind of suburban area. So it's a very small town, which sometimes can be really good and sometimes can be really bad. So we're trying to push something that's very new here. And part of the way that we chose to drive that was through the Founding 40. What I found, it's been good across the board. We did it. It's not a membership per se. So they still, once we're open, they still have to choose whatever their monthly membership is. But it was $240 to join as a Founding 40 member. And it has kind of a bunch of perks that we've done. We gave them early access to the Slack channel, and we did a big virtual reality event down at our architect's office so they could be the first ones to see what our new space and new building look like. They're getting hard hat tours, and we're doing some like kind of exclusive Founding 40 Waffle Wednesday type events and that sort of thing. And of course, they've kind of got our closest ear when they have ideas for things that they want in the space or things that they think are bad ideas. We've gotten those too. What I've found, because we ended up opening this temporary space as we wait for the new building to open, which wasn't part of our original game plan, what I'm finding, we're at I think we're at 34 Founding 40 members right now, so we're not quite to 40. And what I found is as soon as we opened the doors here at the temp space, the interest in Founding 40 dropped, because of course now everyone just wants to sign on to come into the space as a regular membership, and they don't necessarily see the added value of being part of the Founding 40. So I don't know if we'll hit 40 at the end, but it doesn't really matter. I mean, there's very few people who actually sit there and count on our website how many people are there. And we've used the same verbiage and everything. Like I said, we did end up deciding to do a corporate catalyst category at the end because we had some companies that wanted to join on in the company name. And we didn't really like that. We really wanted it to be individuals who are kind of vested in what we're doing. I should say the one other perk that people really like is that we gave Founding 40 members a lifetime discount on conference room booking. And it's $10, so it's not like a huge amount, but that was really enticing to people to be like, oh, forever and ever I get the Founding 40 discount on conference room booking. So yeah, that's a lot of ramble, but that's what we've done.
You sold 34 of those spots. It's amazing. It's great.
Yeah, and I mean, we did that all before we had any physical space. I sold them while I was still sitting in New York, and we were selling it for a space outside of Seattle. So I wasn't even face-to-face to gather people or anything. People are just that excited about kind of what we're doing.
Crazy. Well, and you're going to have another boost when you get to the permanent space, when you get towards that opening. So I feel like it's really easy to say that you've only got 6 spots left for the Founding 40, and that's going to expire when you open the space. So yeah,
I think what we're actually looking to do, I'm going to do another big push in January. Maybe this is my January initiative. We actually were approached by a photographer who shoots for Getty Images and some of the stock photo sites. And he wanted to do a trade. He wanted access to our building and our space to take photos if he could sell them, and he would forever be our photographer and take whatever pictures we wanted and whatever.
Wow.
So one of the things that we're looking at doing with them is in January with the Founding 40 members doing a photo shoot with them. And what I'm brainstorming now is whether we might actually put together a small book with a local publisher here. There's just kind of the stories of these Founding 40 members, and the members like the idea because it's cool and they get profiled, and it's good for us because it says hey, this is the community of people that you find here, and they're the forward thinkers. And if any of you are familiar with a company, for lack of a better word, called The 100 out of Germany. They've put together a whole series of these books around the world. They did one in New York last year that was called The 100 Startups of New York. It's a really cool book, and that's kind of what we're looking to emulate a little bit.
Awesome. I love it. And that kind of goes along with this concept we've been discussing about kind of building a village and having a photographer. I mean, I'm putting that on my list for when I finally turn that into a resource, where, you want to befriend a lawyer and a IT person and a CPA, and you want a photographer, because having a photographer is huge. Every time you throw a party, every time you do some kind of an event, whether you pay them or whether they're just your friend or whether you give them a membership deal or something like that, getting good photos is worth its weight in gold, especially in the beginning. Because even if you just have 1 or 2 really, really good photos of like people hanging out and working in your space or having a good time at an event, you can just use that in so much marketing materials forever. So good on you to have that photographer deal in place. You can already see the benefits of it coming up. Cool. Herman, are we going to try to hear from you again?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Hello, Herman. Welcome to the party. Justin, yeah?
Yeah, I switched to my iPad.
All right, very good.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, we got Herman and Justin. Welcome, Herman and Justin, our newest members to the club. Guys, I'm so excited to have you along. And we have enough time to do a quick little intro and just hear how things are going with you guys. So, Herman, you want to go first? I already read your intro, so you can just kind of build on that from there.
Sure. Yeah, so again, Herman Ayala, I'm a CPA. Basically, this whole thing started with me wanting to build an office building just as an investment. And then it kind of morphed into adding some extra spaces to rent out. And then that became a little bit of research into the co-working arena. And I'm totally intrigued by it. I think it's really cool. I think it's a neat concept. I'm in the suburbs of Houston, so hopefully going to get some attention from basically people working at home that don't want to make the 1 hour commute to get to downtown or 45-minute commute to get to the nearby office areas. And basically, we just finished completing the build out, and really excited about getting started.
Awesome. Great. And you mentioned that you right now, so you have the space, it's open, you're in it.
Yeah.
And what's the membership situation right now?
It's currently just myself.
Okay. All right. So we got some work to do.
Yeah, I put the cart before the horse, I guess. I was focused on getting the building done. It had always been something I knew I was going to build a building anyway. I just wasn't sure how I was going to fill it. So it's really, been a good process of building it out. And I think I have a really nice building, but I'm definitely, starting to get a little nervous.
Okay. All right. So we're gonna. I know you and I need to do a one-on-one call soon, and I got to get back to you about that for this week. But we'll dive into all of it, and I've done that with everybody else here in some way. So we'll get into the details of it. But can you just say a little bit currently about what your thoughts are or what your plans are about how you intend to attract members or your impressions of what we've been discussing so far?
Oh man, great ideas. I love that founding 40 that Atlanta had. We basically had a ribbon cutting ceremony with the Chamber of Commerce. I am a CPA. I have a lot of contacts from my business. I also have a payroll company and also a lot of different businesses in the area. So I'm hoping that I'm going to, actually for this Thursday, I've scheduled like an open house. Right now, it's just really getting the word out there. We're going to have some advertising and some bulletins as well. So I'm just trying to get the word out, let people know it's out there, and then kind of go from there. I'm going to have a mixture of private offices and also dedicated desks that can be rented. They can all be rented per month, per day, per week. We can divide it up anyway. And there's divided by certain areas of where they can get those. And also the conference room. Gotcha.
All right, cool. All right, looking forward to chatting a lot more with you real soon. And welcome aboard. So really exciting stuff. And last but not least, Justin, so excited to have you along. I see you've got your little introduction there. From Kernville, California, on the edge of Sequoia National Park. Population 1395. Justin, I'm so excited to hear your story.
Yeah, so I live in the Kern River Valley, which is down on the southern end of the Sierras. I'm going to paste a. Oh, I will in just a moment. I'm going to paste a YouTube video for you guys to kind of have in the background, so you can kind of see what Kernville has to offer. But I'm the 7th generation of my family to live in this area. And it's a really beautiful, amazing place to work. And there's kind of a few things that I'm seeing that I wanted to have happen in the community. One is that I want to start building a community of people that are techies or are these independent remote workers or self-employed workers, just building a community of people to get together and work in this place that is really fantastic to live in. We're also seeing, I'm seeing a lot of our best and brightest students leave the Valley because they feel like they can't get a job in the tech industry or anything like that if they move out. And I'm also wanting to kind of basically sell a lifestyle. So if you look at the video that I pasted in the chat, you could see that there's a lot of really great opportunity for adventure here in Kernville. And so what I'm selling is kind of a lifestyle. Come work here, play here. If you're the type that likes to, live in a big city and be stacked on top of other people, that's great. But if you want to, just work in an area with clean air, with whitewater rafting and climbing and hiking and fishing and all the rest, come live up here and work here. It's kind of what I've started with is doing some co-working meetups, in the local coffee shops, trying to build a community of people that are, wanting to work together. The next step is to, we're now looking at real estate to lease or possibly to buy, to build a co-working space in Kernville. And then the next step is going to be to start marketing out to some of these nomads and some of these people that, maybe work in the tech industry but aren't really pleased with where they're living, and say, hey, come work with us here. We've got a pretty rad place to work from. We've got a community of people that like to work together. You can do that. Up until relatively recently, you had to live where you worked, whereas now you can work wherever you want to live. And so that's kind of the lifestyle that we're selling. Awesome. So I think our biggest challenges are going to be just getting that initial group started. It's kind of hard to find remote workers because they stay in their homes. So that's kind of one of the first challenges. So we're going to be doing a lot of marketing with even the local newspaper and radio are actually fairly effective up here, and then Facebook advertising and so on to try and get people to join this community. And then I'm also curious if there's, we have a huge amount of tourists come in, and a lot of them want to be able to work while they're vacationing. And I'm wondering if any other spaces have really been able to capitalize on that kind of tourism industry and those kinds of, working vacationers.
Yeah, it's definitely a thing. I would say that the trick with that is finding ways to get a hold of people who are not from where you are. And what I'm finding, this was a topic that came up a lot in Dublin in the Co-working Europe conference. And it basically comes down to finding the digital equivalents of the watering holes where these people hang out. So in real life, if you're looking to recruit people who live near you, you go to where the people are. You go to events, you go to the cafes, you go to your own friends and talk to your friends, whatever other communities you're a part of. And online, it's the same. It's just not physically in the same place. So there are websites for nomads where you can go and get your community listed. There are groups where people are discussing these kinds of things. You can kind of make connections in that way. So I think, think like a nomad. Think about if you were to go to somewhere else and you wanted to find a co-working community there of rad people, how would you do it? What would you Google? And then Google, go search as if you're going to go visit somewhere else that's beautiful in another part of the world and you want to find the communities there, and then figure out what comes up and what looks effective, and then how to get yourself in on it for the reverse. That's probably a good starting point. And so ultimately I think what you do is, you've got your local group of regulars, which seems like you're starting to build up slowly with your meetups, which is good. And it can really start off being a very small number, which is fine. And then you've got the kind of out-of-towners, and the out-of-towners are going to come through those channels, and it might be sporadic, but maybe you can start to kind of get a foothold. I would imagine that there's some kind of pattern to the types of people who end up coming to Kern County to do those adventuring type things in terms of where they come from and their demographics and things like that. Are they coming from SF? Are they coming from LA? Can you establish relationships with people in those regions? Hey, Nana's on the call. She's in San Francisco. Maybe there are a bunch of people who are going to be developing VR experiences who need to go up into some scenic places to do some 3D 360 filming, and could then pop over to your space to download all the files and get them online or something like that. I'm just making up stuff, but it sounds like, developing those kinds of regional relationships could be helpful to you as well. But we're actually going to have some more time to chat later this afternoon for our kickoff call. So I'm excited to dive into that with you in a little more detail.
Very cool.
Yeah, cool. Well, welcome aboard. A quick program note. So next Monday, I'm actually going to be having a guest speaker, which will be fun. So my friend Angel Kwiatkowski runs a co-working space in Fort Collins, Colorado called Cohere. And she's been in the business for a really long time. She's just an absolute badass. She's written about co-working. She speaks about co-working. She does consulting. She has an ebook. She does a lot of similar stuff to what I do, but she has her own way of doing it. And she will be our guest speaker next Monday at this very time. And so definitely mark your calendars and join us for that if you can. And aside from that, that was the program note. So there you go. What other kind of last minute burning questions do we have? What else is on your guys' minds before we call it a week? Lada, I need you to unmute. I got you. Oh, sorry.
Okay. Can you share again what's happening this afternoon?
This afternoon I am having a kickoff call with Justin. So he just joined, and I'm doing a one-on-one with him.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. I would say you're welcome to tag along, but it would be kind of funny. Cool. Any other burning questions? No? Nothing? Nobody? A lot of quiet. Very quiet. TikTok. Okay, cool. Well, in that case, let's just wrap it up, and we will talk again next week. I'll keep you guys posted on my efforts to coordinate the new cohorts and get our programming coordinated for January. And in the meantime, keep being awesome, and keep us posted on how things go for your respective efforts. And I'll see you guys in a week with Angel.
Thanks, Tony. This was great.
I'm sorry, what was that?
I said thank you. This was great.
Awesome. And I'm going to paste in Angel's website as well. And go ahead and grab it while you can, because once I end the meeting, all of this disappears. So grab it when you can. And otherwise, okay. All right. Catch you guys next week. Good talking.
Thanks.
Thanks,
Bye.
See you guys.